At their third engagement party, Zhou Shuyan was once again summoned away by a phone call from Jiang Mishue. He said, "Mishue tried to kill herself, and you still have the heart to get engaged." To avoid upsetting Jiang Mishue, they ended up skipping the wedding altogether and just quietly registered their marriage. He remarked, "Don't be so vain, those ceremonies are just for show." Later, when I had a premature birth with severe bleeding, he abandoned me on the roadside after taking Jiang Mishue's call. He said, "The ambulance is on its way, I need to go save Mishue first. In this new life, I'm no longer fixated on marrying Zhou Shuyan. I've been reborn back to the third engagement party. Michelle has already taken her own life, and you still have the heart to get engaged." Zhou Shuyan forcefully shook off my hand, but I suddenly laughed. His expression froze, a flicker of confusion and panic flashing in his eyes. Looking at the familiar scene before me, my whole heart trembled with excitement. Thank heavens for giving me a second chance. I avoided Zhou Shuyan's outstretched hand and said to him earnestly, "You can go. I won't stop you." Perhaps my change of heart was too sudden. Zhou Shuyan let out a helpless sigh and softened his tone. "Lives are at stake. Wait here for me, darling." Without waiting for my reply, they turned and hurried away. I wiped the tear stains from my face and removed the veil from my head. After changing clothes, I promptly called off the engagement without hesitation. When my best friend Lin Yishu found out I was going abroad to work with her, she was absolutely thrilled. Then she asked suspiciously, "You won't regret this, will you? What if that jerk comes crawling back with sweet talk and you just forgive him like always?" That would have been me in the past, no doubt about it. But after everything that happened in my past life, I've long since given up on him. We've been each other's only family for over 20 years, making our way from the orphanage to where we are today. I crossed my arms and firmly denied, "Don't judge people by outdated standards. He's in my past now. It's time to move forward and focus on the future." Lin Yishu gave me a thumbs up and said, "Well done. Making money is way more important than chasing after some guy." She dragged me to the most extravagant bar in her house to toast to our bright future. In my past life, I turned down Lin Yishu's job offer. Not long after my third engagement party was ruined, I finally married Zhou Shuyan as I had always wished. There was no proposal, no wedding photos, and not even a ceremony. "We just secretly got married," he said. "Don't be so vain, those formalities are just for show." I couldn't resist posting our marriage certificate on social media, and that very day, Jiang Mishue jumped into the river and was hospitalized. Zhou Shuyan slapped me across the face in a rage and yelled, "Are you trying to get Michelle killed? You know she has depression." But I clearly set that post to be visible only to him. How did Michelle see it? I was shocked and disappointed. The person who once vowed to protect me for a lifetime ended up being the first to slap me in the face. I started re-evaluating our relationship, only to find out I was unexpectedly pregnant. The arrival of this new life, along with my longing for a family, rekindled my hope. Zhou Shuyan also apologized to me, saying he loves me and only feels sympathy for Jiang Mishue. He also promised to send Jiang Mishue abroad after her graduation, so I could resign and focus on the pregnancy with peace of mind. Filled with anticipation, I started preparing the nursery, reading parenting books, and discussing baby names with Zhou Shuyan. Everything seemed to be looking up. Until a colleague told me that Jiang Mishue had joined the company and taken over my position. The job they promised to hold for me was just handed to Jiang Mishue, just like that. Seeing the intimate photos they sent, I clutched my stomach and couldn't help but retch. So Zhou Shuyan didn't want me delivering meals to his office out of concern for my pregnancy. It was never about my well-being. He had no time for my prenatal appointments. Yet he flew to Finland to see the Northern Lights and celebrate Jiang Mishue's graduation. I worried about him overworking, but he was busy taking Jiang Mishue to banquets and introducing her to clients. I screamed my lungs out at him, but he just said, "Look at yourself, acting like a total shrew. I kept it from you for your own good, don't you get it? I just don't understand. Michelle is so sweet and innocent. Why can't you give her a chance?" I broke down sobbing and smashed everything in the room. In the end, I used the child to force him to choose between me and Jiang Mishue. Zhou Shuyan was terrified, holding me and swearing he would never see Jiang Mishue again. At 7 weeks pregnant, I felt waves of cramping pain in the middle of the night, and blood stained the sheets. Zhou Shuyan didn't even have time to put on his shoes. He just grabbed me and rushed to the hospital by car. He got a call halfway, slammed on the brakes, and left me stranded by the roadside. Before leaving, he said with a hint of guilt. Hang in there, the ambulance is on its way, I need to go save Michelle first. As I closed my eyes on the operating table, I remembered the text message I'd received. You lost again. He still chose me. A tear slid from the corner of my eye. In that moment, I truly regretted everything. If I could live my life over, I would never make the same mistakes again. Inside the VIP lounge of the bar, Lin Yixu ordered all the top-shelf liquor and called over some handsome guys to give massages. After discussing, we booked our flight for the 3rd day of next month. She needs to wrap up some work matters, and I have to handle my job handover. In just 1 more month, we'll be able to leave this troublesome place. We raised our glasses in celebration, brimming with ambition for our grand overseas ventures. Upon returning home, I saw Zhou Shuyan the moment I opened the door. He emerged from the bathroom with damp hair still dripping, his robe hanging loosely on his frame. Jiang Mishue was seated on the sofa. Upon seeing me, she sprang to her feet and stammered nervously, "Sis, I'm so sorry for ruining your engagement party today. I didn't mean to." Her flushed cheeks looked utterly captivating, and she was still wearing my sheer pajamas. The whole damsel in distress act was just too much. I let out a cold laugh, and Zhou Shuyan immediately stepped in front of her, frowning at me as he said, "Miyu is just really insecure. It's not her fault, so it's my fault then. I suppose I ruined your little rendezvous by coming back." I shot a piercing glance his way, and Zhou Shuyan visibly flinched before retorting defensively, "Why does your mind always go to the gutter? Is it really necessary to be so passive-aggressive just because I borrowed your clothes? This is all your fault for insisting on the engagement party. You scared Mishue so badly she nearly jumped off the building. She'll be staying here for a few days. Take good care of her. Consider it your chance to make amends." Zhou Shuyan spoke with growing self-assurance, while Jiang Mishue behind him looked at me smugly. In my past life, I only agreed to let her stay because Zhou Shuyan used getting married as a bargaining chip. Hearing those words again in this lifetime, I couldn't help but find it laughable. I rolled my eyes and pointed at the open door, saying, "Get out." Both of them looked stunned. Jiang Mishue's eyes welled up first as she said to Zhou Shuyan, "It seems your sister really dislikes me, Brother Zhou. I should go." Before she could take 2 steps, Zhou Shuyan grabbed her by the wrist. "How could you become so heartless? Are you trying to drive Michelle to her death?" Zhou Shuyan snapped angrily. "Michelle is all alone and pitiful. I'm her sponsor, so isn't it only right that you look after her for me?" I'd had a bit too much to drink, and my temples were throbbing with pain. I took a deep breath and said impatiently, "Get lost, you too, you." Zhou Shuyan's eyes widened in disbelief. Seeing my cold expression, he turned livid with rage and stormed out the door, dragging Jiang Mishue along. He turned back as if to say something, but I slammed the door shut with a bang. The next day, I woke up with a hangover. It was already noon. Thank goodness it's Sunday, no work today. After a quick tidy-up, I listed the wedding apartment with an agent. If I'm leaving, I'm making a clean break. Looking around this wedding apartment, the joy I felt decorating it then is nothing but discomfort now. I still remember when we bought the house, Zhou Shuyan insisted on putting only my name on the deed. He said, "If I ever make you angry, just kick me out." Back then, it felt sweet. Now, it just leaves a bitter taste. I took out the suitcase, packed only a few clothes and important documents, and had the rest picked up for recycling. Along with all the necklace gifts Zhou Shuyan had ever given me, pulled out a photo album from the drawer, filled with pictures of us from childhood to adulthood. Setting fire to the things I once cherished actually brought a sense of relief, and everything related to Zhou Shuyan on my phone was completely wiped clean. The more I used to long to marry him, the more relieved I am now that we haven't registered our marriage. All that's left now is to resign, hand over my work properly, and then I can leave with peace of mind. I had dinner plans with Lin Yixu in the evening and ran into Zhou Shuyan at the restaurant. He gave me a cold snort and turned away, looking like he was waiting for me to coax him. I dragged Lin Yixu away with me, and he was absolutely furious. Zhou Shuyan rushed over and stopped me, explaining anxiously and awkwardly, "Nothing really happened between us. Last night, she threatened to kill herself and insisted on throwing herself at me. Michelle is clearly starved for affection. She's been crying for ages. You should go apologize to her." I let out a bitter laugh, grabbed the fuming Lin Yixu, and slapped him while saying, "Don't drag me into your delusional nonsense. If you care about Jiang Michelle that much, why don't you just marry her?" Pushing away the startled Zhou Shuyan, I could still smell the cloying perfume on him. It was Jiang Mishue's scent. Who knows what happened between them last night? If I hadn't gone back last night, Zhou Shuyan might have succumbed to Jiang Mishua's tears and ended up in the marital bed. I can't believe how foolish I was in my past life. I didn't even get angry when the other woman showed up at my door, Lin Yishu, and I entered the private room, discussing our plans after going abroad while we ate. Her father sent her overseas because he was afraid she would compete with her half-brother for the family inheritance. In our previous lives, after she went abroad, we gradually lost touch. I never found out how she fared after I passed away, but in this lifetime, I'll stand by her side and fight alongside her. When I mentioned selling my apartment, Lin Yishu said he knew a clueless rich kid who happened to be in the market for one. After we finished eating and stepped outside, Zhou Shuyan was still waiting there. Surprisingly, he looked all pitiful and wronged, as if I were the one who had cheated on him. A good dog doesn't block the path. My good mood instantly vanished, and I just wanted to kick him aside. 3. His eyes welled up instantly as he grabbed my arm and pleaded, I know you're bothered by Michelle. Let's get our marriage license tomorrow, okay? Sneaking around behind Jiang Shui's back, I let out a self-deprecating laugh. Zhou Shuyan nodded reflexively. Of course, you know she has depression. We can't risk upsetting her. Getting married in my past life is what got me and my unborn child killed, even now. The thought of marriage still stabs at my heart. I gripped Lin Yishu's hand, took a deep breath, and said, I should have told you this yesterday. We're through. Zhou Shuyan froze, his grip involuntarily slackening. He stood rigidly in place, his expression a mix of shock, confusion, sorrow, and resentment. Seeing the seriousness in my expression, his chest heaved with rage, veins throbbing at his temples. After a long pause, he let out a bitter laugh and gritted his teeth, saying, You'll regret this. With that, they stumbled away. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders, as if a burden had been lifted from my heart. After 10 years together, we never once mentioned breaking up, because we're not just lovers, but each other's only family. Once spoken, these words can never be taken back. In this lifetime, Zhou Shuyan and I are destined to drift apart. Afterward, I went back to work as usual, focusing on wrapping up my final project. Zhou Shuyan stopped reaching out to me. He brought Jiang Mishue into the company and often paraded her around in front of me. Soon enough, everyone found out that we had broken up. The office was buzzing with gossip, and some fair-weather colleagues were already rushing to suck up to Jiang Mishue. But a close colleague of mine was happy for me. She said, You should have let go after the first engagement party was ruined. At the first engagement party, I was so happy I cried tears of joy, but Zhou Shuyan didn't even show up. Because Jiang Mishue left a suicide note on social media. If your happiness isn't with me, then what's the point of me being alive? The image shows a bleeding wrist. At our second engagement party, I was on edge the whole time. Just as the ring was about to slide onto my finger, Zhou Shuyan let go. The ring clattered to the floor, and when I looked up, all I saw was Zhou Shuyan's back as he sprinted away. Jiang Mishue was drowning her sorrows at a bar and got harassed. One phone call was all it took to pull Zhou Shuyan away from our ongoing engagement ceremony. I couldn't accept it, yet my third engagement party ended the same way. Working late, I glanced at the clock and realized it was already past 11. The office was empty by then. Just as I was packing up to leave, Zhou Shuyan walked in holding a small cake. His gentle expression made me suddenly remember. It was my birthday. My mind drifted back to this very day in our past life, our first birthday after getting married. I took it very seriously and even caught a glimpse of the necklace I'd been longing for, hidden in his drawer. I took the day off specially and prepared a table full of his favorite dishes at home. But what I ended up waiting for was him accompanying Jiang Mishue to the concert of my favorite singer. In Jiang Mishue's social circle, the men were handsome and the women stunning, and she was still wearing that diamond necklace around her neck. Right, how could I forget that Jiang Mishue and I share the same birthday? In the end, I received an identical necklace too, but it was a fake. I've spent every birthday with you, and this year is no different. Zhou Shuyan said with a bright gaze and a smile. The memories came flooding back, and I let out a scornful laugh. What, did you get a buy one get one deal on Jiang Mishue's birthday cake? Too bad. I think it's disgusting. What does Mishue have to do with this? You're always so bitter. No wonder nobody celebrates your birthday, Zhou Shuyan said with a frown. My healing heart was torn open again. Just as I was about to retort, Zhou Shuyan's phone rang. Brother Zhou, come save me. Ah, don't. Jiang Mishue's voice was especially clear in the quiet room. Zhou Shuyan panicked, dropped the cake, and rushed out in a hurry. staring at the cake smashed on the floor. I couldn't help but scoff. It's just a cake, so what if no one celebrates my birthday? I can celebrate it myself. When I got home, the cake was delivered right to my door. I lit the candles, saying happy birthday to myself, wishing myself happiness and a fresh start. Captured this beautiful moment with a Polaroid before bed. I got a WeChat message from Lin Ishu, happy birthday, sweetheart, along with a transfer of 52,000 yuan. She said she's swamped with work and promised to make it up to me another day. A few close colleagues and friends also sent me their wishes. See, it's not like nobody remembered my birthday. It's just that I used to revolve my whole world around Zhou Shuyan. I'm better off without Zhou Shuyan. 4. I breathed a sigh of relief after the project was successfully completed. I still have feelings for this company we built together. The office was buzzing with excitement, and everyone was congratulating me. With this project in the bag, Ms. Wan is definitely getting the director position. Everyone was looking forward to the celebration, but I just shook my head with a wry smile, keeping my resignation to myself to avoid dampening the mood. I simply handed over all my ongoing tasks and resources to Ms. Chen. She knew I was leaving. There was some sadness, but mostly she wished me well. Sister Chen handed me a cup of coffee and sighed. Back when the four of us started this business together, those were such good times. Now that you're leaving too, I don't know how much longer I'll last here. Her gaze drifted toward the window, and I patted her hand reassuringly, saying, when I've built this into something big, I'll poach you with a fat paycheck. Sure, I'll be waiting, she said with a smile before walking away. Yet her retreating figure carried a hint of loneliness. Back in the day, Sister Chen and the company's other co-founder were in a long-term relationship too. The wedding date was already set, but he told her he wanted to get back with his first love. After he left, Ms. Chen couldn't move on for the longest time. Matters of the heart are complicated and elusive. There's no such thing as first come, first served. I submitted my resignation. The HR department was taken aback at first, but then it all made sense. Now I'm just waiting for the approval. I'm not particularly keen on the director position, but I won't just hand it over to Jiang Mishue like I did in my past life. It has to be Sister Chen's. Whether Zhou Shuyan can protect Jiang Mishue depends on the board's approval. While waiting for my resignation to be approved, I met up with a few close friends. Everyone knew about my breakup with Zhou Shuyan and felt quite emotional about it. I also made time to visit the orphanage, gave the matron some money, and spent some time playing games with the children. She's still thinking about Zhou Shuyan, asking why he didn't come back with me. Seeing the worry in her eyes and her graying hair, I just told her he's busy with work. I also told her I'm being transferred to work abroad and won't be back for a long time. As I was leaving, she held my hand, reluctant to let go. Let me focus on taking good care of myself. That's what matters most, when it comes to matters of the heart. I'll just let things unfold naturally. I couldn't hold back my tears. They just started streaming down. Why couldn't I have learned this lesson in my past life? Time flies. I'm only a few days away from going abroad. The day of the celebration banquet arrived in no time. After everyone had their fill of food, drinks, and fun, they all eagerly awaited Zhou Shuyan's announcement of the director candidate. All eyes in the room were on me, with some even ready to start clapping. Yet my gaze turned to Sister Chen, since I had ultimately placed the project lead role on her shoulders. Then Zhou Shuyan stood up, pulled Jiang Mishue beside him, and said, the director position goes to Jiang Mishue. After speaking, he looked at me with a challenging gaze. The room fell silent. Those who had been clapping abruptly stopped and awkwardly turned their eyes toward me. Only Jiang Mishue was smiling, shyly thanking Zhou Shuyan before casting a triumphant glance my way. Someone stepped in to smooth things over, laughing and starting to congratulate Jiang Mishue. I frowned and stood up, only to have Sister Chen grab my hand. She shook her head, signaling me to let it go, but I slammed my glass down and confronted Zhou Shuyan. Zhou Shuyan sat down nonchalantly, crossing his legs and shooting me a glance. Michelle feels insecure, so of course I have to give her the best, with you being so nitpicky. How could I let her be bullied under your watch? I laughed. If you're so protective of her, why don't you just hand over the CEO position to her? What's the deal with taking credit for my hard work? A glint flashed in his eyes as he stared straight at me and said, are you jealous? Zhou Shuyan said casually, getting up and walking toward me before leaning in close to my ear. As long as you get along well with me Shui from now on, I can get back together with you. And I'll even give you the director position. I shoved him away, Feeling my blood boil with rage, how dare he call something I earned through my own ability a handout, dreaming of having both a wife and a mistress. Does he think he's an emperor or something? Stop disgusting me, you two deserve each other, I said in disgust. As for the director position, I've resigned, it can only be Sister Chen's. Zhou Shuyan frowned and said angrily, using resignation to pressure me, do you really think I'd believe that? Whether he believed it or not, I took Sister Chen's hand and left. Anyway, I'm taking this matter to the board. In the evening, I suddenly received a text from an unknown number. Wang Jin, how dare you block me? Add me back right now. And who said you could quit your job? I don't approve, I'll let it slide this time. I'm moving back tomorrow. And then we're getting our marriage license. I snapped back impatiently, we're done, stop your barking, sent, then blocked and deleted. First you condescend to give me a promotion, and now you presume to offer me a marriage. How did I never realize before how high and mighty Zhou Shuyan could be? Just before bed, I got another text from an unknown number. I thought it was Zhou Shuyan again and was about to block and delete it, but when I opened it, it turned out to be an intimate photo. Zhou Shuyan was lying drunk in Jiang Mishua's arms, her clothes partially undone as she kissed him on the cheek. She even had the nerve to warn me, back off, he's mine and mine alone. I just chuckled, turned off my phone, and went to bed. Just a few more days, and I'll finally be free of this ridiculous couple. The next day at the office, Jiang Mishue was sitting in my chair like she owned the place. All my belongings were dumped into a cardboard box in the corner, a complete mess. When she saw me, she leaned back in her chair, tilting her chin up arrogantly and curling her lip as she said, don't you know to knock before entering? So ill-mannered. I took 2 steps forward and angrily swept everything off her desk in one furious motion. Coffee spilled on her white dress from the table, making her let out a shriek. Stepping out of the office, everyone quickly gathered around. Sis Ruan, are you really resigning? Is it because of Director Jiang? A nosy colleague chimed in, I did resign. But not just anyone can handle being a director. My gaze followed Jiang Mishue as she rushed to the CEO's office to tattle. Sister Chen pulled me into the break room and whispered, the board has sent someone, we'll get the results today. She glanced at the closed office door and wondered aloud, what on earth is Zhou Shuyan thinking? If he wants to keep you around, why does he always take Jiang Mishue's side? Hey, she nudged me with her elbow. Do you know why he let Jiang Mishue take over your office? Seeing her mysterious expression, I shook my head. He promised the board that you wouldn't quit, that you'd work under Jiang Mishue and help her succeed as the director. I was stunned. How could Zhou Shuyan be so shameless? He'd go to any lengths for Jiang Mishue. She's just a scholarship student he sponsors, yet he values her more than our childhood bond. How can Zhou Shuyan be so sure I won't resign, or even agree to mentor Jiang Mishue? All because he's willing to sneak off and get a marriage certificate with me. He's really pushing his luck. I reached out to the board again and made my stance clear. When I went to Zhou Shuyan's office, only Jiang Mishue was sitting at the desk. She had just showered, wrapped in a towel with Zhou Shuyan's suit jacket draped over her shoulders. I noticed that the photo of me that was originally on the table had been thrown into the trash. In its place was a photo of Jiang Mishue. Brother Zhou went to get my clothes. When he comes back, I'll have him teach you a lesson. Jiang Mishue walked up to me arrogantly, poking my shoulder with her manicured finger in a provocative manner. I grabbed her wrist and sneered, picking up trash I threw away. What's there to boast about? I don't need anyone's help to teach you a lesson. With that, I shoved her hard. She stumbled backward, her lower back hitting the edge of the table, glaring at me with pure hatred. She snatched the nearest ashtray and hurled it straight at me. I couldn't dodge in time. The ashtray grazed my temple, sending a sharp jolt of pain through me. 5. Jiang Mishue sneered maliciously. I stepped forward and slapped her across the face with all my strength. The slap rang out, sharp and clear. A bright red handprint bloomed on her cheek, and her eyes welled up with tears. She grabbed a fruit knife and raised it menacingly. To my utter shock, she plunged it fiercely into her own chest. Just then, Zhou Shuyan burst in and shoved me aside. Mishue, are you alright? He held Jiang Mishue in his arms with a pained expression. With red-rimmed eyes, she forced a faint smile and said, it's my fault for always upsetting you, sister, maybe I should just die. Zhou Shuyan scooped her up into his arms, shot me an angry and disappointed look, then hurried out. Over his shoulder, Jiang Mishue flashed me a triumphant smirk. I just pointed at the security camera, and her face instantly changed. Trying to frame me, should have checked your surroundings first. I picked up the photo from the trash bin and went back to my office. I retrieved what I needed from the box in the corner and handed over everything else usable to Sister Chen. After receiving the board's response and seeing Chen Jia appointed as director, I left the company. Lin Yixu was hospitalized with stomach pain, and when I went to visit her, I ran into Zhou Shuyan. His eyes swept over the kanji I was carrying, and he frowned, saying in a deep voice, "Wang Jin, you nearly got Mishue killed. How dare you show up here with your hypocritical gesture of bringing kanji? It's so absurd it's laughable when you're left speechless." Zhou Shuyan thought I was here to see Jiang Mishue and even brought her some kanji. How ridiculous. She brought this on herself by stabbing herself with a knife. She should be grateful she didn't end up killing herself. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him, so I just pulled up the office surveillance footage and showed it to him. In the video, Jiang Mishue was blatantly provoking and harming herself like a madwoman. After watching it, Zhou Shuyan's expression shifted unpredictably, his face a complex mix of emotions. He seemed to hold back his words, frustration trapped in his chest, and glared at me with a dark, sullen face. "If there's nothing else, please step aside." He was blocking the hallway, so I motioned for him to move aside. "Aren't you here to see Michelle?" Zhou Shuyan blocked my path again. I shook my head with a smile, not bothering to explain, but Zhou Shuyan wouldn't let it go. He grabbed my arm and demanded, "Then who are you here to see, a man or a woman? None of your damn business." He choked back his words, then said sternly, "You should apologize to Michelle first. No matter what, if you hadn't hit her first, she wouldn't have been so desperate to take her own life." I pointed at the scar on my temple and sneered, "Are you blind? Jiang Mishue provoked me first. Come to think of it, this is all you're doing, forcing a duck onto a perch by making her the director. Not only did she take my office, but you actually expect me to cover for her." Zhou Shuyan looked embarrassed but had no retort. I walked right past him without a second glance. Through the slightly ajar door, Jiang Mishue could still be seen anxiously peering outside. It's hilarious, in a way. They were both making an effort toward each other. The next day, when I picked Lin Yixu up from the hospital, I found a tiny kitten by the roadside. We were just discussing finding it a good home when we saw Zhou Shuyan helping Jiang Mishue back from their walk. His overly attentive manner was particularly grating. He wasn't even this considerate when I was pregnant in my past life. Spotting me, he left Jiang Mishue behind and hurried over in a few quick strides, ready to be discharged. "Let me drive you home." Before we could respond, Jiang Mishue behind him clutched her chest and let out a pained cry. Zhou Shuyan quickly turned to support her and apologized to us, saying, "I'll take Michelle home first, please wait for me." Lin Yixu and I exchanged a knowing smile, then turned and left. After seeing Lin Yixu home, I found someone to adopt the kitten. Sister Chen mentioned she has a British Shorthair at home, so it would be perfect company for the little one. I happened to be going to the office to pick up my termination papers and final paycheck, so I brought the kitten along, but just as we reached the building, the kitten suddenly bolted from my arms and leaped onto a shadowy figure. "Ah!" Jiang Mishue let out a piercing scream, then grabbed the kitten and hurled it violently toward the curb. Just then, a car sped past. I was completely stunned, my legs trembling uncontrollably. I rushed over and scooped up the kitten, which was still meowing. Thankfully, it hadn't been run over. Still shaken, I yelled at Jiang Mishue, "What's wrong with you? It deserves to die. And so do you. How dare you steal Brother Zhou from me?" Jiang Mishue lunged at me like a madwoman, but security had already restrained her. I soothed the kitten in my arms and noticed the spilled liquid on the floor. It was concentrated sulfuric acid. Jiang Mishue tried to harm me, but the kitten saved my life. "There's surveillance at the entrance. I told them to call the police immediately." "Jiang Mishue, you're absolutely vicious. You're going to jail for this." Jiang Mishue, looking completely unhinged, screamed hysterically, "I'll haunt you from the grave if I have to. This is all your fault. Because of you, Brother Zhou abandoned me at the hospital alone." She struggled frantically, glaring at me with fierce intensity, and said, "Brother Zhou is mine and mine alone. I won't let you take him away." I ignored her and drove the kitten to the hospital. Only now did I realize that Jiang Mishue might actually be mentally unwell. After examining the kitten, the vet confirmed it only had some minor cuts and scrapes. I breathed a sigh of relief and gave the kitten to Sister Chen. Lin Yixu contacted me, saying that clueless rich kid was back in the country and wanted me to show him some properties. On the drive back, thinking about Jiang Mishue still made my heart race. In my past life, I used to envy her for receiving so much favor from Zhou Shuyan. I always thought she was just a scheming manipulator. But now I realize her suicide attempts might have been genuine. She was always that kind of lunatic to begin with. I even pitted Zhou Shuyan in a ridiculous way. After all, he was stuck with such a madwoman. After letting go of my obsession with Zhou Shuyan, it felt like a blind man suddenly regaining his sight. Once you can see the light, that tiny pursuit in the darkness no longer matters. Back at the marital home, the so-called cursed rich second-generation Lin Yishu mentioned was already waiting there. He had silver white hair, wore earrings, and was dressed in trendy fashion. He really has that spoiled rich kid vibe. He called it house hunting, but he made up his mind after just a quick look. The house hadn't even been transferred yet, and he wired me the money on the spot, truly living up to his nickname with that lavish generosity. I smiled and paid him a compliment, but as soon as I opened the door to leave, I ran into Zhou Shuyan, who had suddenly appeared. He looked me up and down and said with relief, "Jean, I'm so glad you're okay. I had just sent Jiang Mishue to the police station, and yet here he was, showing concern for me. If you hadn't provoked me, Jiang Mishue wouldn't have lost it," I said coldly. "Don't be angry anymore. I promise I'll stay away from her from now on. Let's make up." Zhou Shuyan stepped forward and grabbed my hand. I shook off his hand in disgust and took 2 steps back. Just as Zhou Shuyan was about to speak again, his gaze fixed on the man who had followed me out. 6. His expression changed abruptly, and his voice turned icy cold. "Who the hell is this guy?" The rich kid wanted to stick around for the drama, but I hurried him along until he left. Zhou Shuyan tried to step forward and throw a punch, but I held him back and snapped impatiently, "What gives you the right to question me?" "Zhou Shuyan, we're already broken up." With a hurt expression and red-rimmed eyes, he said, "You're actually defending him. Is he the reason you broke up with me?" Tears streaming down, he broke down. "Wang Jin, how could you insult me like this, bringing him to our wedding home?" I laughed, crossing my arms as I looked at him. "Don't be such a hypocrite. If you can bring Jiang Mishue here, why can't I do the same?" Zhou Shuyan frowned deeply. "So you're just doing this to spite me, Wang Jin? I've told you, Miyue is different. I only see her as a little sister. She has no one to rely on. How could I not take responsibility after offering her support? You were an orphan too. Why can't you show her a little kindness?" Zhou Shuyan kept ranting and blaming me relentlessly, as if everyone else was blameless and I was the only one at fault. I cut him off and spoke wearily. "Your precious sister has repeatedly ruined my engagement party, and even threw sulfuric acid at me. Do I look like a doormat to you? After all she's done to me, should I still be falling over myself to treat her kindly? Are you out of your mind? Whatever twisted thing you have going on with your sister is your business. Don't drag me into it." Zhou Shuyan's face turned pale with anger, yet he stubbornly insisted, "My relationship with Mishue isn't what you think it is. Stop talking nonsense." I laughed and said, "You know the truth better than anyone, don't you? If I hadn't come back that night, can you honestly say you wouldn't have ended up in bed with her?" I stared straight into his eyes, and Zhou Shuyan, feeling guilty under my gaze, averted his. He staggered back 2 steps, shaking his head in denial. After a long pause, he finally looked up and said with difficulty, "Don't measure another's corn by your own bushel. I don't have those filthy thoughts." With red-rimmed eyes, Zhou Shuyan declared firmly, "From the very beginning, you're the only one I've loved. And the only one I'll ever marry. I told you, what I feel for Mishue is nothing but pity." I let out a cold laugh, too weary to continue arguing. "Anyway, there's absolutely no chance for Zhou Shuyan and me anymore. Whether it's sympathy or love he feels for Jiang Mishue, I don't want to get involved anymore. The original plan to leave on the 3rd of next month has been changed to the 1st. Lin Yishu finished his work ahead of schedule, and I've successfully resigned." On the night before we left, she organized another small gathering. She invited a few close friends to see us off. In the private room of her home bar, the handsome masseur from last time was arranged again. This time it was just a light drink. We kept it moderate and headed home on time. I unexpectedly found myself unable to sleep, thinking about leaving the familiar behind and heading to an unfamiliar country. There was both excitement and reluctance. The next day, we set off for the airport early. Just before turning off my phone, I received a message from Zhou Shuyan. "Jean, if you leave that man, I'll send Jiang Mishue away, and then we can get married." I didn't take it seriously and just dismissed it as a spam message. After arriving at the place, both Lin Yishu and I laughed at the same time. that lingering unease was completely cast aside, leaving nothing but sheer determination. We joined the company and hit the ground running, busy negotiating partnerships and adjusting to local life. During our downtime, we made time to explore various tourist spots. Months later, I heard from Sister Chen that Zhou Shuyan had been searching for me frantically. 7. I lost my domestic SIM card right after landing, so he couldn't reach me. My close friends kept it under wraps, but Zhou Shuyan kept pestering them daily. Once while chatting with Sister Chen, Zhou Shuyan snatched the phone and rasped, "Jean, I miss you so much, please come back. You don't like Jiang Mishue, so I've sent her away, please come back. If you come back, we'll get married." I hung up the phone, and when they called again, I just turned it off. What's the point? What's the point of saying all this now? I've moved on and won't look back. Zhou Shuyan tried to contact me again later, so to avoid trouble, I changed my number once more. Working day and night with Lin Yishu, the company secured several major investments and developed strong partnerships. Of course, the job comes with inevitable overtime, stress-induced hair loss, and networking events, but we're enjoying ourselves. Suffering through work beats heartbreak any day. After acquiring a company, we went out for a celebratory dinner, but then some creep started harassing us. A greasy blonde guy kept secretly filming us with his phone. He even came over laughing and tried to put his arms around us for a photo. After being rejected, he flew into a rage and aggressively dragged me away with his accomplice. Lin Yishu immediately got furious, smashed a bottle over the guy's head, and yelled, "You damn Yankee piece of trash, I'm gonna kill you." Colleagues from the company swarmed over, and together they beat them black and blue. After they scurried away in embarrassment, everyone burst into laughter. As I kept laughing, tears started streaming down my face. Lin Yishu teased me with a smile, "No need to get so emotional about it. In my past life, consumed by romantic entanglements, I never would have imagined I could have such a carefree birthday, free, vibrant, and exhilarating." Back at the apartment, I unexpectedly ran into Zhou Shuyan. He stood there, looking travel-worn, as if it had been ages since we last met. I have no idea how he found this place, and aside from annoyance, I feel nothing for him anymore. Zhou Shuyan stepped forward awkwardly, looking noticeably thinner with exhaustion clouding his eyes. "Jean, you've changed so much," he finally managed to say after a long pause. I smiled faintly. "Yes, leaving you was the best thing that ever happened to me. The person I am now radiates confidence and brightness, a far cry from the drained and gloomy version of myself that used to orbit around Zhou Shuyan." An awkward silence hung between us. Finally, Zhou Shuyan spoke up, "This place isn't so bad. The company's planning to expand operations here, so we'll be seeing each other more often." I didn't respond, just pulled the door open and went inside. To me now, Zhou Shuyan is just a familiar stranger. What he does is none of my business. As long as it doesn't affect me, I'll just ignore him like he's nothing. After that day, Zhou Shuyan started frequently shuttling between two places. He rented a place near me and would often strike up conversations, whether he had something to say or not. Most of the time, I ignored him, but he never got upset. Instead, he grew more patient, just like how he treated Jiang Mishue. The only thing is, I threw away all the flowers and gifts he gave me and never once accepted his invitations. Over time, he'll naturally grow tired of it. Just like me, love that goes unanswered will only wither away day by day. Sure enough, it wasn't long before Zhou Shuyan vanished from my life. It was only much later that I found out from Sister Chen that Zhou Shuyan ended up marrying Jiang Mishue after all. After Jiang Mishue was sent abroad by him, she ran back again. She secretly drugged Zhou Shuyan and soon became pregnant. Zhou Shuyan's world collapsed. He drowned himself in alcohol all day and broke down sobbing in front of his friends. "There's no going back. Jean will never forgive me." Sister Chen sighed. "Jiang Mishue is such a handful. Thank goodness she didn't end up marrying Zhou Shuyan." At that moment, I felt a wave of relief wash over me too. I broke free from the shackles of my past life, no longer caught in the middle of their drama. I'm finally living the life I was always meant to live. After Mother Superior passed away, I went back for a visit. After the funeral, Zhou Shuyan came to find me. He rubbed his face and said with a choked voice, "I'm sorry, Jean. It wasn't until after we got married that I realized Jiang Mishua's innocence and kindness were all an act." Zhou Shuyan's face fell, and he broke down, saying, "You have no idea, she's driving me insane. You're the only one I want to marry. It's all because I drank that glass of wine. I mistook her for you." As Zhou Shuyan spoke, He started crying. Seeing that I wasn't responding, he raised his voice and said, "How could you be so heartless, leaving without a word and even selling our marital home? I know everything now. That man was the buyer. But how could you sell the house without even discussing it with me? Now I don't even have anything left to hold on to." He kept on accusing and regretting, but I felt nothing inside. I wanted to offer some words of comfort, but they just wouldn't come from the heart, so I simply chose to remain silent. Jeon Mi-shue came rushing over in a hurry, and when she saw me, she charged at me like a madwoman. Her belly was already swollen, yet she still recklessly screamed and tried to hit me. Zhou Shuyan stopped her and snapped, "Could you stop acting like a shrew?" With just that one sentence, Jiang Mi-shue burst into tears. She clutched Zhou Shuyan tightly and cried out hoarsely, "So you still can't forget her after all? I'm your wife, and you're mine. How dare you defend her instead of me?" Zhou Shuyan frowned in irritation, only to notice the blood pooling beneath Jiang Mi-shue. In a panic, he carried her away. I didn't dwell on the drama and booked a flight back for that same night. Lin Yishu's management of the branch company had caught her father's attention, who subtly undermined her and told her to focus on supporting her younger brother going forward. She and I still have a long way to go. Extra, Zhou Shuyan. Later, I thought back on it countless times. When did Jean start planning to leave me? After much thought, I believe it was the day of the third engagement party. Her gaze was so icy. She seemed to despise me, as if she couldn't stand to be near me. But back then, I was completely clueless, still lost in Jiang Mi-shue's gentle and soothing words. My heart melts whenever she cries. For her sake, I repeatedly hurt Jean. I even broke up with Jean for her and gave her Jean's director position. I'm filled with regret. What haunts me most is that day I wrongly accused Jean of cheating with another man, and failed to keep her by my side. But by the time I came to my senses, she was already gone, vanished without a trace. She even sold our marital home. Left nothing behind, didn't even leave me a single keepsake. After she kicked me out that day, I stayed angry and waited for her to beg me to come back. Never expected to end up blocked, broken up with, and left without a word. I asked her friends about her every day, but not a single one would tell me where she'd gone. It wasn't until I overheard Sister Chen on the phone that I gradually learned she had gone abroad. She didn't leave out of anger. Nor did she move to another city. She went to a distant foreign country. I went crazy. Jean really didn't want me anymore. No matter how much I begged, she refused to come back. Jiang Mi-shue retorted, "Your sister has abandoned you, but I will always be by your side." It's all Jiang Mi-shue's fault. She was the one who came between Jean and me. This time, I didn't soften at her tears and insisted on sending her abroad. Only then will Jean forgive me. After quite a bit of effort, I finally found Jean. 8. She's changed so much. It's like we're back to when we first started dating, so full of life and energy. Suddenly, I felt hesitant, afraid of her rejection, so I decided to expand into overseas markets to be closer to her. It's alright, she'll forgive me someday. I comforted myself with that thought. But just as I was planning to shift my work focus abroad, Jiang Mi-shue came running back. She drugged me and got pregnant with my child. She went live and threatened suicide to force me into marrying her. The company's stock took a hit, so I had to marry her. But in my heart, I always knew it was Jean I should have married. I couldn't face her, so I drowned my sorrows in alcohol. Only when drunk would Jiang Mi-shue start resembling Jean. But Jiang Mi-shue was furious that I treated her as a substitute. She deleted all of Jean's photos from my phone and even insisted on accompanying me on every business trip. She barged in without any regard for the situation, even while I was discussing a business deal during overtime, afraid that Jean and I would rekindle our old flame. But she didn't know that the current me didn't dare to show my face in front of Jean at all. It wasn't until Jean returned to the country for the dean's funeral that I mustered the courage to see her. Yet my remorse and anguish couldn't stir even a flicker of emotion in her. Jiang Mi-shue foolishly raged at her, only to end up causing her own miscarriage. The doctor said her uterine lining was too thin, making it nearly impossible for her to conceive again. Upon learning this, Jiang Mi-shue went berserk and attempted suicide. After being saved, she blamed me and Jean for everything. She kept spouting nonsense all day, saying things like those who die in childbirth deserve it. It was insane. I ended up committing her to a psychiatric hospital. Whether she lives or dies, it's up to her now. I drifted through each day in a daze, lost several major deals, and got fired from the company. I ended up holed up at home, drinking heavily every day, and my stomach started acting up. only when I'm drunk do I start to dream. In my dreams, Jean married me, and we had a child together. The three of us were a happy little family. Then suddenly, a gas explosion lit up the sky, shattering my beautiful dream. In a daze, I saw Jean lying on the operating table, covered in blood. It turned out that in our past life, she married me but lived in misery, so in this lifetime, she wants nothing to do with me. I lay in a sea of fire, engulfed in flames, yet felt no pain. I only pray my soulmate will live a long and full life. I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. Story 2. I was trapped in a sham marriage with a closeted gay man. Now that we've had a child, he's dropped the act completely. Sign the divorce papers now. Or next time I won't just beat you into a catheter, I'll beat your guts out. Gu Hui yanked the urine bag right off me. He splashed urine on my face with a look of disgust. You lost your job, got mental issues, and still think you can fight me for custody. Dream on. This marriage cost me my career, health, dignity, and ultimately my child. Then I jumped from the 28th floor. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at the very moment Gu Hui proposed to me. Amidst the crowd's teasing cheers, I decisively accepted the proposal. Rebirth isn't a complete reset, it's just stuffing a battle-scarred soul into a youthful vessel. Gu Hui, shall we marry? This time, you got tricked into marriage by a psycho. 1. Marry me. Xianxian. Confetti exploded in the air as rowdy cheers filled the room. A 3 years younger Gu Hui knelt on one knee, holding up a plain band ring. As I looked at him, all I could see were those soul-crushing lines from the queer forum in my past life. OP, I only married a woman to continue the family line. Now that we have a child, how do I get rid of the mother but keep the kid? Reply 1. Get her fired and make sure she never finds work again. That way you'll get full custody. Reply 2. If she refuses divorce, beat her within an inch of her life. She'll beg for divorce soon enough. OP, she's nearly beaten to death. Bladder ruptured, doctors say she'll need a urostomy bag for life. Still refuses to give me custody. Reply number 4. Jesus, that bitch gets wrecked like this and won't divorce. Is she mentally sound? OP, gave her depression from the beatings before, now it's turned bipolar. Reply number 6. That's insanity. Sue for divorce now, guaranteed full custody. Move your assets first so you won't have to split shit. OP, all my salary savings are in my boyfriend's account. She can't touch my money. Any legal experts here? If I write my boyfriend an IOU during marriage, can it count as marital debt during divorce and make that woman repay it? 7F, Law Grad 09 here. OP smart, this move totally works. Replies flooding in. Genius OP, taking notes. That OP is Gu Hui, the man now proposing to me. Xianxian, Gu Hui called my name again when I didn't respond. Will you marry me? Scanning the crowd of onlookers, I spotted a familiar face not far away. Song Mingxian, my husband's true love. His eyes held no anger at losing his lover, only the predatory gleam of someone watching prey stumble into a trap. He and Gu Hui were openly gay partners, their relationship known to both families. This so-called marriage proposal was just about carrying on the family line, taking a wife to continue the ancestral legacy, and I was the sacrificial lamb they'd chosen. I looked down at Gu Hui with a smile, gently accepting the ring and sliding it onto my finger. Of course we should get married. How else would I show you the horrors of being married to a psycho? 2. Xianxian, my family isn't well off. Maybe we should skip the wedding ceremony. It's fine, really. Xianxian, work's been crazy lately, I can't get time off. Can we postpone our honeymoon? It's okay, really. Xianxian, I have oligospermia, so we might need IVF to have a baby. I know this will be hard on you. No, I don't mind at all, it's fine. No matter what he said, I never refused, always responding with it's okay. From our marriage to my successful IVF pregnancy, the whole process went as smoothly as an enema for Gu Hui. I know he, his family, and his boyfriend are all waiting for me to deliver this child so they can flush me down the drain like used toilet paper. What they don't know is that this baby isn't Gu Hui's. After all, why the hell would I bear his child? I went to a sperm bank and handpicked a handsome, brilliant donor for my child. Then tossed Gu Hui's specimen tube into the trash, where most of his offspring belong anyway. The IVF process required hundreds of hormone injections into my abdomen throughout the entire pregnancy. In my past life, after enduring excruciating pain to bring our child into this world, Gu Hui snatched them away effortlessly. The rage still consumes me. I literally punch the air in my sleep every night. Gu Hui got another midnight wake-up call from my fists. What kind of martial arts are you practicing in the middle of the damn night? He hadn't slept properly for half a month, dark circles of rage forming between his eyebrows. Feminist combat, fucking feminist combat my ass. Gu Hui burst into angry laughter. But this is the fist of justice. With that, I landed another punch square on his forehead, knocking him out cold. Ever since I got this mental illness, I feel like I've become so much stronger. 3. I slept straight through till broad daylight. Waking up leisurely, Mom, I think she's gone crazy, look how she beat me up. Through the door, I overheard Gu Hui quietly complaining to his mom, oh, women, they all get a bit moody and irritable during pregnancy, just bear with it for now. Once the baby's born, you won't have to indulge her anymore. In my past life, my mother-in-law kept up her act perfectly before the baby arrived. Even when Gu Hui and I argued, she'd take my side, making me believe she genuinely accepted me as her daughter-in-law. So I know she'll keep pretending this time too, until my child is born. No, seriously, I think she's lost her mind. Guess what she told me yesterday? She wants to quit her job, expects me to support her, a VP position in investment banking, pulling in hundreds of thousands a year, and she's just throwing it away. What? Absolutely not. The moment money was mentioned, even my usually sweet-talking mother-in-law couldn't keep up the act. She barged right in without knocking. Xian, wake up, don't sleep now. Mom needs to talk to you about something important. Mom, I'm thirsty, could you get me some water? My mother-in-law reluctantly brought me a glass of water. Too cold, I murmured, reaching out from under the covers to test it before quickly withdrawing my hand. The second glass arrived. Too hot. The third cup, lukewarm. Mom, bring me another straw. I want to drink lying down. My mother-in-law finally snapped, slamming the cup on the table and yanking my blanket off. Stop lazing around, look what time it is. Am I, an old woman, supposed to wait on you hand and foot just because you're pregnant, acting like you're some kind of royalty? I opened my eyes and sat up, feeling terribly apologetic. I thought it was my own mother who came in just now. Oh dear, how silly of me. A mother-in-law isn't the same as one's own mother. I shouldn't have been so familiar with you. My words made my mother-in-law visibly uncomfortable. What kind of talk is that? Of course I'm your mother too. I've always treated you like my own daughter. So do I get a share of your inheritance? A 50-50 split? How about Gu Hui and I each take half? I pushed my luck. Why don't we notarize a will first? Make it clear this is a no-strings-attached voluntary gift. My mother-in-law gasped twice in furious shock. You're just waiting for me to die. No way, but I'm unemployed now and really need the money. Finally getting to the point, my mother-in-law perked up. That job of yours was perfect. Paid way more than Gu Hui's. Why on earth did you quit? I sneered inwardly. They don't want me to quit because my current earnings are considered marital property. Gu Hui could claim half in a divorce. In my past life, Gu Hui kept preaching about women needing careers and staying on the front lines through pregnancy, pushing me to work until the day before delivery. But the moment our child was born, Gu Hui's true colors showed. First he pressured me to quit and become a housewife. When I refused, he secretly copied my work files and sold them to my company's competitor under my name. The data breach was quickly uncovered, and I was branded as a corporate spy. Facing industry-wide blacklisting across the financial sector, every recruiter and HR department added my name to their blacklists. My decade-long career built through relentless effort was destroyed overnight. His sole motivation was that courts typically favor the financially stable parent in custody battles during divorce proceedings. Since I got a second chance, I knew exactly what he'd do, so I quit first. Let's see him try to ruin my reputation and career now. But my mother-in-law was furious. Childbirth costs a fortune. What'll you do for money now that you've quit? Ask Gu Hui for it. I shot back. If I'm doing all the work of bearing and raising this child, why should it even carry his last name? Seizing the moment, I made my demand. By the way, I've never even seen his paychecks. Now that I'm unemployed, his salary should be under my control. I watched as my mother-in-law's face flushed crimson, then gradually drained of color like a fading bruise. He doesn't make much. He's studying for civil service exams and money's always tight for him, she replied in a brittle voice. Even my mother-in-law knew about it. To prevent his salary from becoming marital property, Gu Hui had handed his paychecks to Song Mingxian before their wedding. How dare we have a child when we're broke? I snapped, throwing off the blanket as I scrambled out of bed. I'm getting an abortion right now. My mother-in-law grabbed me in panic. Didn't you save up a lot before? You must have some savings. Gone, all gone. What, exactly? Your precious Gu Hui claimed he had poor sperm motility and needed IVF, all funded by me. That's right. In my past life I was foolish enough to spend even my premarital savings on his fertility treatments. The worst part, he never even had oligospermia to begin with. He said that deliberately, not just because he didn't want to touch me, but more importantly, in divorce cases. Courts tend to award child custody to the infertile party, and oligospermia fits that criteria perfectly. See how meticulously they planned this. They're literally draining me drop by drop. But this time, I won't back down. I'm telling you I'm broke. If the Gu family won't pay up, I'll abort this baby. My mother-in-law was terrified of me. She feared her son wouldn't con another woman into bearing his child if we divorced. She left my room and returned moments later with a bank card. Her face dark with displeasure. There's 100,000 yuan here. Take it for now. Card in hand, I waved goodbye to my mother-in-law and happily flopped back into bed. Well, after being normal for so long, it's time to go crazy. What on earth is she doing? Is she nuts? Can't you just wear headphones? I'm currently seated at the reception desk outside Song Mingxuan's office, where every passing employee gets drawn in by the sounds from my phone, curiously peeking before awkwardly scurrying away. That's right, I'm watching gay porn on my phone at full blast. On screen, two men are entangled, moaning loudly, while in the adjacent workspace, Song Mingxian fidgets uncomfortably at his desk. Miss, this is our company's reception area. I'm afraid you can't sit here unless you have business with us. The receptionist finally gave in to complaints and came to shoo the visitor away. But I do have business here. I'm here to see someone. May I ask who you're looking for? I'll notify them for you. I have no idea, I declared matter-of-factly. My husband's phone is full of these videos, plus some guy in his contacts named Baby. I'm here to find his so-called baby. The receptionist froze for a solid few seconds, completely overloaded by this information dump. But you just said you don't know who this baby is. All I know is he works here. That's why I brought these videos as our secret handoff. I whispered conspiratorially. Mind lending me a projector? Wouldn't want him to miss our secret signal. Forget about the projector. The girl kept turning down my movie night invitation before finally blushing and bolting, though the screening never happened. Song Mingxian was clearly rattled. I caught him whispering to my husband on the phone, "Get over here quick. That woman you married has lost it." Sure enough, my wonderful husband came screeching in within minutes. He snatched my phone and finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw it wasn't him and Song Mingxian in the video. What the hell is wrong with you? You're into men and I'm not allowed to lose my shit. My voice was so loud it startled everyone working with their heads down. They were already eavesdropping on the gossip, but now they openly lifted their heads to gawk. Keep your voice down. Gu Hui frantically moved to cover my mouth. I dodged with nimble footwork and casually fished his phone from his pocket. Won't admit it. Fine, I'll call your sweetheart right now. Song Mingxian wasn't quick enough to power off his phone before I hit dial. When his ringtone blared out, all the rubberneckers who'd been staring at me silently pivoted toward him. So, you're the homewrecker seducing my husband. I stormed over and dumped my half-finished coffee right on his face. Provoked beyond endurance, Song Mingxian leapt to his feet. You're the mistress here, Gu Hui and I. Song Mingxian. His words were cut short by Gu Hui's sharp rebuke. I'm pregnant. Gu Hui couldn't let Song Mingxian agitate me, though left unfinished. I knew exactly what Song Mingxian meant to say. In my past life, right after I gave birth, the two of them came clean with me. I lashed out at Song Mingxian for being the other woman, only to be shut down instantly. He retorted, I've known Gu Hui for 10 years, you've only known him for 3. You're the real homewrecker. Back then, I had nothing left but helpless rage, but this lifetime, different story. Gu Hui, choose me or him. I forced Gu Hui to make a choice right in front of his boyfriend. I'm carrying your child. If you pick him, I'll get an abortion right now and we're heading straight to the divorce office. Gu Hui would love nothing more than to divorce me, just not at this moment, to keep me from leaving. Gu Hui swore on his life to cut ties with Song Mingxian. Even retrieving his salary card to entrust to me, the entire office witnessed Song Mingxian being abandoned by his same-sex lover. I know Gu Hui will go back to sweet-talk Song Mingxian after I'm gone, but it doesn't matter, at least for now. His heartbreak is undeniably real. After all the pain he inflicted in my past life, it's only fair he tastes the bitterness of love's betrayal this time. After that outburst, Gu Hui thought I'd finally calm down for a while, but little did he know. Crazy never takes a day off. Soon enough, I dropped another bombshell on him. I called the cops on myself. 5. Distribution of obscene materials. The officer scratching his head said, watching gay porn isn't exactly legal, but you weren't actually distributing it. But I had it playing out loud, just the audio was playing. I also tried playing the video part, but you didn't actually set it off, did you? The charge was practically nothing, and since I'm pregnant, the cops had zero intention of holding me. Tell you what, have a family member come bail you out, and we'll let this one slide. He was worried I might slip and miscarry in custody, then he'd be on the hook for it. Can you put this on my record, like a criminal file? The cop couldn't help but laugh at this bizarre reverse negotiation tactic. What exactly are you trying to pull here? My husband passed the civil service exam and is undergoing background checks, I admitted honestly. If his wife has a criminal record, he'll fail the vetting process. Do you have a grudge against your husband? The cop gave a slight shudder. I nodded. A blood feud. All right. The officer nodded understandingly. What marriage doesn't have its share of old grievances? He wagged his pen at me. But, don't let me see you in homicide. The police made perfect sense, but pregnant women can't take medication. I did the math. It's been nearly 6 months since I stopped my psychiatric meds. I don't know how much longer my sanity can hold out. 6. Gu Hui failed his political vetting, casting a gloomy pall over the entire household. Meanwhile, I'm just living it up, eating, drinking, and making merry without a care in the world. My mother-in-law couldn't take it anymore. Xian, you can't keep spending like this, we're literally broke. After failing his civil service exam, Gu Hui returned to his old job. Though his boss worked him to the bone daily, the paycheck still covered the basics. The reason money was so tight, he was secretly supporting Song Mingxian on the side, turned out to be an unexpected blessing in disguise. Gossip spreads fastest in this world, but rumors cut the deepest. That scene I caused at Song Mingxuan's office, now the whole company knows he's gay. And when they saw me watching gay porn at their entrance, though he wasn't even in it, the rumor mill twisted it into she was watching her husband's sex tape with him right outside the office. Nuclear, absolutely nuclear. Then Song Mingxian was let go through mutual agreement with the company. Gu Hui couldn't bear to see Song Mingxian suffer, but with his paycheck under my control, he had no choice but to support her using their family savings. Mom, I understand. I'll start a small business to help with household expenses. Doing the math, Gu Hui should be planning to have Song Mingxian sign an IOU by now, so I need to accelerate my own plan. I'll give them a taste of their own medicine. 7. To be honest, if it weren't for that despicable couple, someone with my moral standards would never have conceived such a vile scheme. A month later, my small business was 4 million in debt, with IOU signed to my friend. Both Gu Hui and I thought we'd outsmarted each other, so we coexisted peacefully for months afterward, only arguing over postnatal care center choices. I insisted on the best postnatal center, while Gu Hui considered it too extravagant. He wanted to take me home right after delivery for his mother's care. In my past life, after childbirth when I'd lost all usefulness, no one cared during my postpartum confinement. I had to drag my torn body just to pour myself a glass of water. After barely 2 weeks of bed rest, my mother-in-law called me lazy and made Gu Hui beat me, forcing me to cook and wash dishes in freezing water for the whole family. Just remembering it makes me homicidal. This time, Gu Hui repeated the exact same words from our past life. I was struggling to crack open a coconut when Gu Hui's come back home slipped out the moment those words left his mouth. My cleaver came down hard on the shell. The coconut shattered instantly, its water spilling across the floor in a gush. What did you just say? I wrenched the cleaver free from the broken shell and advanced toward him, blade in hand. Gu Hui's eyes widened in panic as he stumbled backward. It's not that we don't want you to stay, but we're truly out of money. If you've got funds, you can stay as long as you like. Oh, I see, I said, my expression softening. Actually, I still have money, premarital assets. Gu Hui swindled me out of everything in my past life. This time around, I'm watching my back and keeping my guard up. Nobody's touching my money. Truth be told, I never planned to use his money for the postpartum center in the first place. I know perfectly well this child isn't Gu Hui's. If he ever demands repayment for every cent spent on this child later, I'd rather use my own money from the start. The conflicts at the postnatal care center were finally resolved, and the day of delivery arrived. Just like in my past life, I had a difficult labor. 8. I wanted an epidural, but Gu Hui refused. I requested a C-section. but my mother-in-law objected. The new policy hadn't taken effect yet, so the husband still held the signing authority for epidural anesthesia. Without his consent, I could have been dying in labor pain on that delivery bed for all anyone cared. Gu Hui did this on purpose. I overheard him talking with his mother outside the door. Let her suffer from the pain now. Only when she's terrified enough will she obediently agree to the divorce. My mother-in-law chimed in. Come on, childbirth is painful for every woman. She's just being dramatic, wasting money. That's exactly how it went in my past life. They made me beg repeatedly, writhing in agony on the bed, yet remained coldly indifferent, refusing to sign. They forced me to endure 2 days and a night of torment before delivering a baby whose face was already blue from suffocation. But this time is different. Though I have no support, I've hired my own delivery squad, a team, in advance. How does a team assist with childbirth, you ask? Hey, you're painting yourself into a corner, aren't you? They'll eliminate every obstacle preventing my smooth production. Soon, I heard chaotic noises coming from outside the door. The mother-in-law screamed in utter distress. Stop, don't hit my son. What are you doing? Xing Chang, the leader of the Sonda team, shouted to me from outside the door. Don't worry sis, we got the device. The moment I heard this news, the excruciating cramps in my stomach miraculously seemed to vanish. They dragged Gu Hui into the empty ward next door. 4 burly men pinned him to the bed and forcibly attached the electrodes of the labor pain simulator to his abdomen. Xing Chang went easy on him after all, with pain levels ranging from 1 to 10. He started Gu Hui at level 5, but Gu Hui couldn't even handle level 5. Writhing in agony as 4 burly men struggled to restrain him. This won't do. The client specifically requested he experience level 10. Xing Chang made the call. Let's ramp it straight up to level 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gu Hui let out a scream as agonizing as mine. The piercing cries cut through walls and doors, reaching my ears with terrifying clarity. The nurse arrived belatedly. Your wife wants to know, are you signing the consent form for her epidural or not? Sign it, just sign it. Give me the damn pen, now. Gu Zai's agony had him clawing the sheets to shreds, his nail-torn hands desperately reaching for the pen as if grasping at his last lifeline. The signature was so distorted it barely resembled writing, but he'd managed to scrawl it before passing out. As the anesthetic seeped into my spine, I let out a sudden, delirious chuckle in the haze. They say husband and wife share one body. Well then, you'd better savor every ounce of my suffering. 9. The baby finally arrived, a healthy 7-4-pound boy. My mother-in-law was over the moon, refusing to let go of him and barely letting me near. Well then, don't you dare put him down. If she's willing to handle the exhausting newborn care, I'm certainly not about to fight her for it. Just eating, sleeping and scrolling through my phone every day, living the absolute dream. I stayed at a luxury postpartum care center for 2 months. The premium caregivers are truly next level. They pampered me like royalty, much to my mother-in-law's visible disapproval. What's the big deal about having a baby? Back in my day, I was working in the fields right after giving birth to my son. Never needed this kind of coddling. Such is the lottery of life. I sighed between bites of my Michelin-starred confinement meal, making sure she heard every word. Some are born with silver spoons, others with wooden ones. What a world of difference. My words drained the color from my mother-in-law's face yet again. You call yourself a mother, dumping all childcare on me. Where's your maternal instinct? Exhausted from round-the-clock babysitting and sleepless nights, her eye bag swelling by the day, she started plotting to turn me into her indentured servant. So where's his father then? I shot back. What, did the man drop dead while his wife's in confinement? How can you even compare men and women? Fine. Let's see you not give the child his surname then. At this point, my mother-in-law backed down and resumed rocking the stroller with her puffy eyes. She couldn't bear to see her son suffer, so naturally she endured the hardship in his stead. Gu Hui never showed his face once during those 2 months of my postpartum confinement. I suppose that childbirth simulator must have traumatized him beyond measure. It wasn't until I moved back home from the maternity center that he finally emerged from the bedroom with a dark expression. You're back. My mother-in-law shot us a glance before swiftly carrying my son into her room. I knew it. They were moving to phase 2 of their plan, domestic violence against me. Sure enough, the moment her door clicked shut, Gu Hui grabbed me by the hair and dragged me into the bedroom. Labor pain simulator, Meng Jiaxuan, I never realized you could be this cruel. He slammed me against the bedpost. then kicked me square in the chest. Childbirth is a woman's duty. You deserve this pain. You ought to suffer. Another brutal kick landed on my abdomen. If you've got energy for tricks during labor, the pain clearly isn't bad enough. Silently protecting my vitals, I curled into a fetal position, presenting only my back to him. Punch after punch, kick after kick. After what felt like an eternity, he finally wore himself out. Go sleep on the floor. He yanked the blanket over and collapsed onto the bed, falling asleep almost instantly. I waited a while longer until I heard his soft snoring before finally getting to my feet. My chest ached, my stomach burned, and my back, kicked countless times, had gone nearly numb with pain, yet my eyes gleamed with exhilaration in the darkness. Gu-hui had no idea I'd been waiting for this moment just as long. I turned around, click. The lock slid into place. Then I returned to the bedside and slowly pulled down his trousers. With one swift motion, I castrated him. 10. A piercing scream triggered motion sensor lights across half the neighborhood. My mother-in-law burst from her room, frantically pounding on my bedroom door. Open up. What have you done to my son? Gu-hui clutched his severed groin, his face turning ashen with pain as beads of sweat rolled down, utterly speechless. I'd prepared hemp ropes for binding, but they ended up completely unnecessary. A wound in that most vulnerable spot renders even the strongest man temporarily powerless to fight back. Still want to hit me? I asked him. I don't even care if I get no response. I opened the door and threw the severed flesh at my mother-in-law's feet. Call the police, I said casually. I've turned your son into a daughter. She let out a shriek, rolled her eyes back, and fainted. Pathetic. I ended up calling the cops myself. 2 officers arrived. One being the same cop who'd warned me to stay away from the Criminal Investigations Division. As he cuffed me, he kept glancing at my bruised and swollen body, his words dying in his throat. See, pure self-defense, I said, oddly chatty given the circumstances. That's not how self-defense works. Attacking someone while they're asleep counts as premeditated assault. The officer sighed on my behalf. Try to settle this out of court, or you're looking at serious jail time. No worries, I said cheerfully. I'm mentally ill. The other cop clearly disliked me and sneered. Everyone knows you can plead insanity. You think judges are idiots. Wait, hold on. The sighing officer tilted his head at me. She might actually be unstable. 11. I'm genuinely not right in the head. The psychiatric evaluation report lay plainly before the prosecutor and plaintiff, shattering their hopes of putting me behind bars. You're mentally ill. How dare you trick me into marriage? Gu-hui's eyes burned crimson as he repeatedly tried to charge from the plaintiff's bench to attack me. Takes one to know one, you damn closet case. I shot back without backing down. Oh wait, he's one of the girls now, so I guess that makes me straight. The court ruled that my mental illness, medication discontinuation during pregnancy, and domestic violence trauma led to extreme actions, resulting in a non-conviction verdict. No matter how bitterly Gu-hui resented it, he had to swallow this defeat. To prevent further abuse, I immediately filed for divorce. Just like in our past life, we stood in court again, only this time, I was the plaintiff, and he was the one on trial. How dare you file for divorce? Gu-hui was fuming with rage. You're a wife-beating gay man who tricked me into marriage. What? Too cowardly to own up to it. I invited the media to livestream the entire divorce hearing, exposing his sham marriage and closeted homosexuality for the world to see. With his reputation already ruined, Gu-hui was determined to maximize his gains in this lawsuit. Since I'm diagnosed with mental illness, he held the upper hand in the divorce proceedings. Just like in our past life, he used my unemployment records and psychiatric diagnosis to demand custody of our child. He even produced his own disability certificate to prove he could no longer father children. He stood confidently in court with his lawyer, looking down at me with arrogance. But the child isn't yours. I blinked. Why should I give him to you? What did you say? Gu-hui was stunned. I arranged the IVF procedure. How could the child not be mine? Wrong, wrong, wrong. I shook my head, correcting him. I'm the one who underwent IVF. You just provided a sperm sample. I paid for everything and carried the pregnancy. The decision to use your sperm was mine to make, you bitch. Gu-hui finally snapped, hurling insults at me without a shred of dignity left. I can understand his desperation. After losing that particular function, this child was their family's only hope to carry on the bloodline. But, well, how unpredictable life can be. Gu-hui's lawyer demanded compensation for emotional distress, insisting I repay double all expenses, from prenatal care to childbirth. that he'd spent on this child. Even the lawyer, who was usually skilled at sophistry, was speechless when he saw the entire bill paid solely from my premarital assets. You really didn't spend a single cent, did you? The lawyer sighed at Gu Hui. There's no need to be this stingy, is there? No, that's not it. Gu Hui went through the list item by item, from the ultrasound fees during prenatal checkups to the diapers used at the postpartum center. Even the weekly imported formula expenses, all of it had been deducted from my premarital account. He never expected me to calculate everything so meticulously, leaving him no room to take advantage. Looks like you met your match. The lawyer offered his client some half-hearted sympathy. Next time you try marriage fraud, pick an easier target. But Gu Hui wasn't about to admit defeat. He still had one last card to play, that IOU he'd written to Song Mingxian during their marriage. 12. With a debt of 2 million, according to marriage laws, I'm liable for half of it. Gu Hui hired a new lawyer who meticulously prepared stacks of documents to counter all my reluctant objections. Little did they expect, I actually complied with the verdict without resistance. Debts taken for the family should naturally be shared. I wholeheartedly agreed with Gu Hui's lawyer's arguments. After all his lengthy statements spared me from addressing the judge, producing the IOU I'd prepared, I suggested. This was also borrowed for household expenses. Shall we split the repayment? For a million, faced with this staggering amount, even Gu Hui's new lawyer could only bow his head like a hype man, clapping like a seal and muttering wow. After these legal battles, not only did Gu Hui fail to profit from me, but the debt settlements left him owing me $1 million instead. He's completely finished. Rumor has it he developed depression too, lost his job, and is now scavenging trash to pay off debts. Song Mingxian, of course Song Mingxian left him. I genuinely hoped to witness an unbreakable bond, but alas, trash attracts trash. Anyone who caught Gu Hui's eye was probably rotten to the core. 13. The day the $1 million hit my account, I was at the household registration office holding my son to change his surname. Why can't I? I'm divorced now. My son should obviously take my last name, I protested indignantly. As I've explained, children can voluntarily change surnames after 18, before that. It requires both parents' consent. Did your ex-husband agree? The clerk repeated impatiently. His consent doesn't matter. This child isn't biologically his. I showed her the court judgment documents. She read the line about my mental illness twice, then verified the child had no blood relation to my ex-husband before reluctantly handing me an application form. Fill in all the blank sections. What's your surname? It's Meng. I cried out with joy. My surname is Meng, and from now on, my child will bear the Meng name too. He came from my womb, my precious little one who belongs to me alone. 14. In finance, what really matters is competence. A criminal record isn't that big of a deal. After the divorce, I threw myself back into the corporate world with reckless determination and somehow outperformed my pre-marriage career highs. I didn't keep the $1 million I got from Guzay. Marry me, Xian. Truth is, even after living 2 lifetimes and enduring many hardships, I've never harbored discrimination or hatred toward homosexuality. What I despise are those scumbags who use love as a trap to exploit others for personal gain. Following the sighing officer's advice, I visited a psychiatrist and got my medication refilled. He was right. Since I live in this society, I should at least try to maintain my sanity, but life's unpredictable. On my way home, I stumbled upon a woman cradling a child, her body covered in bruises. What's wrong? She bumped into me. So I casually asked what was wrong. My husband abuses me, and now he's trying to take my child away. The woman sobbed uncontrollably. I have no money or job. What am I supposed to do? Hearing that, I tossed the medication in my hand straight into the trash. Need some backup then? I asked, itching to help. Honestly, being crazy ain't so bad. The end. Story 2. I was reborn back to the day I got kidnapped at age 5. The trafficker held a balloon in one hand while dragging me by the arm, trying to shove me into his car. My cousin Yi Ning suddenly pushed me aside and declared with righteous indignation, "Take me instead." I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. She fantasized about being abducted by traffickers like my past self, sold to a metropolis oceans away, adopted by wealthy parents to live a life of endless luxury and decadent pleasures. But she had no idea what the next 20 years would hold. The hell I had to endure, in that past life. Yi Ning watched as the traffickers took me away without lifting a finger to help. I was sold to a wealthy but childless couple, while she shamelessly took my place on the family register. becoming my parents' beloved daughter in my stead. Later, when the factory restructured, my parents lost their jobs and our circumstances worsened, yet my parents still scraped together every penny to meet her needs, even taking menial jobs to put her through college. No output as the provided text is empty or contains only a non-printing character, but when we met again 2 decades later, she spoke of my parents with nothing but contempt. You have no idea how I live, no AC in summer, no heating in winter. One winter we nearly got carbon monoxide poisoning from the stove. They're nothing like when you were young, so stingy they'd agonize over buying a simple cut of meat. When a talent scout wanted me for commercials, they flat out refused, saying that industry's too shady for girls. Truth is, they're just scared I'll leave them behind if I make it big. Yet for all her complaints, her smooth complexion and neat clothes betrayed no signs of hardship. How about introducing me to your adoptive parents? I'd settle for just a minor role in showbiz. Her request to meet my adoptive parents sent chills down my spine. I shook my head vehemently in refusal. I couldn't let her fall into the clutches of those wolves in human clothing. Little did I know she'd grow to resent me for it. On the day I won Best Actress, she rushed to my limo and grabbed me just as I was about to get in. The blade went in clean and came out crimson. I collapsed in a pool of blood, my heart ceasing to beat. Till my dying breath I couldn't comprehend after her parents' tragic accident left her orphaned. It was my family who took her in. Whenever I got something delicious or fun, she was always the first one I'd share it with. When other kids mocked her for being an orphan, I immediately jumped in to fight them. After all I'd done for her, how could she repay me with repeated attempts on my life? I thought I'd never get my chance for revenge, yet I was reborn, too. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to that fateful day at age 5, the day I was kidnapped. Ning clung desperately to the trafficker's arm, shoving me to the ground. I'll go with you. I promise I won't cry or make trouble. Taking her with you is just asking for trouble. She's frail and sickly with a weak heart. She might die of fright the very next day. Then you'd not only lose the deal but also be charged with murder. Take just me instead. I can help you get more money. Staring at the scene before me, I looked around in disbelief. 7-year-old Ning, the balloon-selling trafficker, and the blue dolphin-shaped hydrogen balloon in my hand. The nightmare that had jolted me awake countless times at midnight was now unfolding right before my eyes. I touched the twin pigtails on my head, then pinched my own arm. Ouch, I was reborn, and I'd reincarnated on the exact day I'd been kidnapped by traffickers in my past life. In my past life, Ning took me to the park. She got into an argument with another girl over a doll, while I was lured away by a balloon vendor who turned out to be a trafficker. The moment I accepted the helium balloon from him, he grabbed me and dragged me toward a waiting car. Sister, save me, I screamed desperately at Ning, who was just a short distance away. She dropped the doll and ran a few steps toward me, then suddenly froze. She didn't move another inch, even as the trafficker shoved me into the car and drove away. The trafficker took me to a bustling city I'd never seen before and sold me to a wealthy family for 20,000 yuan. From then on, my life became nothing but molestation, beatings, and imprisonment. Not a shred of warmth remained in this world for me. Watching Ning so determined to leave with those traffickers, I couldn't help but let out a scornful laugh. If she's so eager to live the nightmare I survived, I'll make damn sure she gets her wish. Seeing the hesitation in the trafficker's eyes, I immediately clutched my chest and collapsed to the ground, feigning a heart attack. I think I'm having a heart attack. Help me, get me to a hospital. Ning froze for a second when she saw me on the ground, clearly not expecting me to play along with her act, but with such a golden opportunity right in front of her, she couldn't possibly let it slip away. She seized the moment to exaggerate. The doctor said during her last checkup that she'd need a heart transplant if the illness recurs, or she won't last a month. Hearing this, the trafficker shoved Ning into the vehicle alone. Before driving off, he spat at me. Fucking jinx. Ning waved at me triumphantly from the back seat, humming a tune. I got up from the ground and dusted myself off with a dismissive look. Like a moth to flame, she was the first to do so. Soon enough she'd learned those seemingly kind foster parents were involved in shady dealings, and treated me with particular cruelty. They treated me like an unpaid servant, forcing me to clean, run errands, and wait on them hand and foot. My foster father would grope me when he came home drunk, and any resistance earned me a brutal beating. When I grew older and tried to escape, they caught me and locked me in a dark room for days without food or water. By 18, I'd become their puppet, a money-making tool passed from one strange older man's bed to another. In that past life, there was no escape. In this life, Yin Ning was destined to become their new cash cow. 3. After Yin Ning went missing, my parents placed newspaper ads and posted missing person notices for ages, but never caught even a glimpse of her. Back then, surveillance systems were underdeveloped, and our small town didn't even have basic CCTV coverage. As time passed, they eventually gave up the search. Ever since that day, I'd burst into tantrums from time to time, making my parents think I was traumatized. Maybe we should move, a change of environment might help Wanwan's condition. That night, my parents sat in the dimly lit living room, with only a single amber floor lamp glowing. My mother glanced toward my room, nodding silently with tears streaming down her face. A week later, we moved out. Before leaving, I threw the only photo of Ening in the house onto the floor. The movers trampled over it repeatedly while carrying our belongings. Watching her face distorted beyond recognition under those footprints gave me immense satisfaction. Ning, I hope you'll still be smiling like this 20 years from now. 4. In my past life after I went missing, Ning persuaded my parents to move away with her. Not only did they quickly give up searching for me, but they poured all their love into Ning instead. They devoted themselves to nurturing her and giving her everything she desired. 20 years later, I finally found Ning. Holding my hand with guilt written all over her face, Ning said, I was paralyzed with fear back then. I never meant to abandon you. Thank God you're back. My adoptive parents even sold their blood to buy me a piano when I was little. If they could do that for an adopted child like me, imagine how much better they'll treat their own flesh and blood. With hopeful anticipation, I sat with her in their cozy home, waiting to reunite with my birth parents. Yet when they returned, they looked at me as if I were a complete stranger. They refused to acknowledge me at all. My father shoved me out the door. My daughter died long ago. Stop trying to scam us. I was utterly devastated, yet too afraid to go to the police. Under my adoptive parents' guidance, I ended up following their footsteps into shady dealings. Calling the police would be signing my own death warrant. Feeling utterly abandoned by the world, I obediently returned to my adoptive parents, back to my old ways. Blood ties, just empty words when it comes down to it. 5. After moving, we rented a place while my parents scraped by doing odd jobs for others. Times were tough, but I genuinely understood what it meant to feel human happiness. Later, my parents borrowed money to open a small shop. Dad's handmade noodles were legendary, while Mom kept everything spotless with her tireless work ethic. We built good relationships with the neighborhood, and as regular customers multiplied, our hand-to-mouth existence gradually eased into comfort. At 15, I rushed home excitedly and practically forced my dad to watch the news with me. Dad, let's join this platform and start doing food delivery too. My father was completely against it at first, but after my daily pestering, he finally signed up for online delivery and launched our digital sales channel. Eventually, business boomed. Our chain stores spread across every corner of the city. And we even built our own factory offering dine-in, delivery, and ready-to-cook meal kits for home preparation. In no time, the Een family rose to become one of the wealthiest merchant clans. With greater wealth came broader social circles, and naturally, more people entered our orbit. Little did I know that my efforts to improve our family's circumstances would also bring my reunion with Een Ning 2 years earlier than fate intended. Our company was seeking a spokesperson for our new product line. The PR agency shortlisted several actresses whose image aligned with our brand, scheduling their final interviews for today. The moment the conference room door opened, Een Ning sprang up from her chair. What are you doing here? Shock and disbelief flickered across her face. I shot her a cold glance and deliberately ignored her. She's the decision maker at the Een Corporation. Whether you land this endorsement today depends entirely on her. Een Ning's manager gave her a discreet tug. Though visibly shocked, she maintained composure in the crowded room, offering me an apologetic bow before slowly resuming her seat. My apologies, I mistook you for someone else. I gave her a dismissive glance before turning to my assistant with indifference. Let's start with her first. She shot a sideways glare at her agent. I thought this was just a formality. What's this about? Am I supposed to perform for her now? Een Ning pointed at me, her face twisted in resentment. Without looking up from her resume, I said flatly, unwilling. Next. Fine, I'm out. Who the hell wants your shitty endorsement deal anyway? Een Ning grabbed her bag, kicked the chair aside, and stormed out. Her agent scurried after her. pleading, for God's sake, calm down, if you don't get that money for your parents, you'll have to. Yi Ning suddenly stopped dead in her tracks and turned to glare at her agent with venom in her eyes. Have to what? Sleep with their hand-picked guy? What's one more fuck after all these years? Qin Yu is no ordinary man, his depravity is legendary. Countless girls in our circle have been left half dead by his games. Yi Ning, I fear you might walk in but never walk out alive. Nonsense, Qin Yu would never do such things, in her past life. She'd seen all those news stories about Qin Yu and me, how he proposed, how we were inseparable, the picture-perfect romance. Relax, I've got him right where I want him. No way, you have to land this endorsement deal no matter what. Her agent panicked seeing her ready to back out. Why, I signed a betting agreement. If you fail to secure this endorsement, we breach the contract, you'll be blacklisted, lose all income, and your parents will never let you hear the end of it. Yi Ning's gaze pierced through the conference room glass, locking onto me inside. I met her stare unflinchingly. Yi Ning, are you finally realizing how heaven and hell hang by a single thread? 6. I glanced at the 3 remaining girls in the room. Let's go with her. I pointed at Yuanjin sitting quietly in the corner, her head bowed nervously. Are you sure? The assistant looked surprised. Yuanjin is a complete rookie with no connections, no backing, and zero reputation. She's literally a nobody in this industry. Seeing I wasn't having second thoughts, he leaned in and whispered cautiously, Boss, she's only got some ridiculous web series that may never air. Are you sure you want her? I stood up and stared at him for 3 solid seconds before he hastily stepped aside to clear my path. I'll arrange the 1-year contract immediately. My hand paused on the doorknob as I turned to glance at Yuanjin. 5 years, Yuanjin looked at me with glistening eyes. And I gave her an encouraging smile. You've got this. I thought Yi Ning had already left, but to my surprise, she intercepted me right outside the conference room. Do you think I'll starve without taking this ad? I couldn't be bothered to argue and tried to leave, but she blocked my path. Yin Wan, you do recognize me, don't you? I pretended to think for a moment. Sorry, it still doesn't ring a bell. You might have the wrong person. She clamped down on my wrist. Yin Wan, stop playing dumb. You're the one who had those traffickers take me away. I scoffed and shook off her grip. How pathetic. You were practically begging them to take you back then, remember? I smiled at her with a knowing curve of my lips. How's your luxurious life treating you? Comfortable in that lightless dungeon? My words sent a visible shudder through her body before she glared at me with bloodshot eyes. You've been reborn too, haven't you? I simply kept smiling without a word. She suddenly grabbed my throat in a frenzy, slamming me against the wall. You knew they'd torture me, force me to entertain those disgusting old men. How could you do this to me? Though her grip left me gasping for air, the smirk never left my lips. Isn't this exactly what you did to me in our past life? Her hands went slack, staggering backward. A flicker of guilt crossed her face, only to be replaced by a vicious snarl. You have to give me this endorsement deal. You owe me this. I almost burst out laughing. How could she have the nerve to say I owed her? I turned to leave without another word, but she started screaming her lungs out behind me. If you won't give it to me, I'll go ask Mom and Dad. They'll definitely say yes. I dug at my ear. Parents, your parents died long ago. How are you going to ask them? Dig them up from their graves? My past life parents sold their blood for me. They wouldn't abandon me in this life either. She shoved past me and stormed down the hallway, vanishing around the corner. I brushed the wrinkles from my suit jacket. I'd like to see how this ghost of hers could possibly make my parents accept her again. The commercial shoot went smoothly. Yuanjin was a dedicated actress. Every expression and line delivery was executed flawlessly. 8. The director couldn't stop praising her after the shoot, but the ad barely made a splash during its first week. Given Yuanjin's complete lack of name recognition, maybe we should ask Yi Ning to fix this. Her industry reputation isn't great, but she's got decent audience appeal. My assistant suggested again, holding the campaign data. Before he could finish, the marketing director burst into my office excitedly. Boss, we've hit the jackpot. This time we've really hit the jackpot. He mirrored his tablet screen onto my office TV. That web series starring Yuanjin dropped out of nowhere and blew up overnight. Our products with her exclusive endorsement sold out instantly. Distributors are flooding our phone lines right now. The marketing director was pacing excitedly around my office while my assistant gaped at me with a thumbs up. Boss, you're a legend. I calmly shooed them both out. This outcome was exactly what I'd anticipated. I actually had a hand in getting this drama greenlit, back in her previous life. Yuan Jin skyrocketed to fame through this low-budget web series. Its absurdly ridiculous and unconventional plot made her an overnight sensation. With her sweet looks, hilarious personality, and solid acting skills, she instantly became a household name and a ratings guarantee. There's another reason I'm promoting her: to use her as leverage against Yi Ning and completely dethrone the industry's reigning queen. Every single resource that belonged to her, I've snatched and given to Yuan Jin. I single-handedly propelled her to A-list stardom, to the point where industry rumors swirled about us having a sapphic affair and Yuan Jin being my kept woman. I never bothered denying these baseless speculations. After all, they worked in Yuan Jin's favor. With me as her shield, nobody dared lay a finger on her. Call it my way of making amends for using her. As we spent more time together, we realized how well our personalities clicked and gradually became close friends. I'd just picked up my parents from the airport after their trip and was pulling out of the parking lot when suddenly a figure darted in front of the car. I slammed on the brakes so hard I nearly sent my mom flying from the back seat. 9. Before my mother could recover from the shock, loud banging noises erupted from the rear passenger door. "Mom, Dad, it's me, Yi Ning." I got out of the car and pulled her away. "Stop knocking, leave while I'm still being nice." She saw my parents get out of the car and rushed past me to grab my mother's hand. "Mom, it's me, Yi Ning, I'm home." My mother hadn't recovered from the earlier shock, and this sudden grab scared her out of her wits. She couldn't even bring herself to look directly at the woman. "Yi Ning died long ago. What do you want by impersonating her?" My father shielded my mother behind him, his face stern as he rebuked her. "Dad, don't you recognize me?" Yi Ning's eyes brimmed with despair. "I'm your daughter. You used to dote on me, love me so much. How can you not recognize me now?" Her tears welled up in her eyes, then streamed down her face as she spoke. "My sister died long ago. I was the one who paid for her gravesite." I calmly recounted the lie I'd fabricated years ago. I knew Yi Ning would eventually come knocking to reunite with our parents. So 2 years ago I hired a rural couple to stage an act. I fabricated a story that Yi Ning had been adopted by them but tragically died in an earthquake. Later, I paid off that couple and erected an empty gravestone beside Yi Ning's biological parents' tomb. Only then did my parents truly let go of their guilt toward Yi Ning. Yi Ning's eyes turned murderous as she glared at me, lips trembling with such fury it seemed she'd tear me apart any second. I don't know why she's so mad. I just replayed her past life's tricks in this lifetime. With a little creative twist of my own, she lunged at me like a madwoman, grabbing my arm and shaking me violently. "It's you took everything from me." Smack, a sharp slap rang out right beside me. To my shock, Mom actually struck her across the face. In our past life, Mom treated her like fragile porcelain, yet now she delivered that slap without hesitation. Yi Ning stood frozen, clutching her reddened cheek. "Mom, you hit me." "Don't call me Mom, I only have one daughter. If you're sick, go to a mental hospital."